and so much controversy this year. Across the country, there will be memorials. At Ground Zero, family members are gathering to pay tribute to the loved ones they lost 9 years ago. And Vice President Biden just moments ago arrived to pay his respects. President Obama will be paying his respects to all those who died that day in a speech at the Pentagon. And the First Lady will be at Chaseville, Pennsylvania, the site where brave passengers brought down United Flight 93, believed to be on target to crash into the U.S. Capitol or the White House.
As you noted, this year's remembrances take place against a highly politicized backdrop. Pastor Terry Jones, who called off his plan to burn Qurans today, arrived here in New York City late last night. He is hoping to meet with the imam behind that planned Islamic Cultural Center near Ground Zero. Meanwhile, over in Afghanistan, there have been angry street protests over that proposed Quran burning, even though it didn't happen, raising the question of whether the damage had been done anyway. Our Martha Raddatz is in Afghanistan this morning. We're going to talk to her in just a moment.
But we do begin at Ground Zero. For months, it has been the site of protest over that proposed mosque. And today will be no exception. But there will also be memorials. John Berman is there live. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Bianna. Well, many people remember. There will be solemn ceremonies here, but as you said, also controversy. Those dueling demonstrations for and against the Islamic Center and the arrival of that pastor from Florida.
Well, I've had a lot to say before. Maybe that's why I'm pumped out.
Not a lot of words from Pastor Terry Jones as he arrived in New York City late last night after a week of a circus atmosphere in Gainesville, Florida, where Jones staged his on-again, now off-again threat to burn the Quran.
There will be no Quran burning tomorrow. I don't know, do we have to repeat that over and over and over again?
However, Jones is still calling for a meeting to discuss the construction of the Islamic Center near Ground Zero.
We have not heard from the Imam, but we are still very, very hopeful that we will meet with him.
Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf says there is no meeting planned, but that he's open to seeing anyone seriously committed to pursuing peace. The Islamic Center, opposed by a majority of Americans and New Yorkers, is the focus of dueling demonstrations today.
My son is dead. He was murdered by Muslims. He can't speak anymore. And I'll keep speaking out for him. And I think that's the American way. We'll let our voices be heard.
And once again, the president weighed in, using his most forceful language yet to defend the right to build the center.
We've got millions of Muslim Americans, our fellow citizens in this country. When we start acting as if their religion is somehow offensive, what are we saying to them?
And he added there are Muslims serving in U.S. uniform overseas.
Part of honoring their service is making sure that they understand that we don't differentiate between them and us. It's just us.
The New York Police Department says they are expecting thousands of demonstrators down here today, and they will have extra police on the streets to keep these demonstrators separate. The police also say they'll be keeping their eye on the movements of Reverend Terry Jones as he spends the weekend here in New York City, trying to keep him safe. He'll be here until Monday, they say. Dan?
A lot to worry about for the New York City Police Department. John Berman, thank you. Meanwhile, over in Afghanistan this morning, people are celebrating Eid, which is the holiday that marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan. But along with the celebrations, thousands of people are also protesting that plan to burn Qurans in Florida, even though it's been called off. Our Martha Raddatz is in Kabul this morning. She has the latest from there. Martha, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. Clearly some damage has already been done. Protests are erupting here and across the Muslim world. Thousands of protesters gathered across Afghanistan even after it was clear that the Quran would not be burned. Clashes with police left nearly a dozen people injured. The commander of troops in Afghanistan, General David Petraeus, told us he fears Jones has created indelible images of hatred.
They're already, in a sense, images, if you will, implanted in minds.
General Petraeus was one of the first to condemn Terry Jones this week, fearing for the safety of the 100,000 U.S. troops and others under his command, an especially powerful feeling on this anniversary.
They and their families have sacrificed enormously during this time. Our country can never thank them enough.
Petraeus visited many of his troops this week. He also expressed frustration that 9 years after the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden has not been found.
To say that, well, he's gone to ground, he isn't as influential or whatever, I think that would be misplaced. He's an iconic figure. He still is the leader of Al-Qaeda. He still periodically issues instructions provides inspiration to those extremists who are out there.
And that has now been made easier by the worldwide attention Terry Jones has gotten. Dan?
Martha Redditz, thank you. Let's talk